diving into some heavy stuff today
Yeah,
with Unrestricted Warfare.
definitely.
This book, it's been
Okay.
making some waves.
Big time.
Some folks calling it visionary, others saying it's downright dangerous.
Yeah, you don't see a military text get this kind of reaction every day. What makes it so, I don't know, potent, do you think?
I think it's got to be who wrote it, really.
It's gotta be. This isn't some think tank. These are two senior colonels, Liang and Wang Xiangsui, straight from the PLA, China's military. It's like they're giving us a peek behind the curtain, how they see war in the 21st century.
And that was back in '99 when they published this.
Which adds another layer. China was on the rise, but not the global power they are now. So folks are paying attention.
Absolutely. And for the record, we're here to break down their ideas, not to agree or disagree. We're all about understanding how different folks think, especially when it comes to something as, well, huge as war.
Yeah,
Right?
for sure. And what grabs you with unrestricted warfare, what makes it so, I don't know, unsettling at times, that it really wants to upend how we even think about war. Like their opening statement is basically the Gulf War changed everything.
And they don't just mean the tech, the stealth bombers, all that shock and awe everyone was talking about.
Right. They're saying the whole purpose of war, what it's for, that's what shifted.
It's like, imagine you're an actor, right?
Okay.
And suddenly the play you're in, the role you know, it's all outdated.
But the show goes on. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
That's what they argue the Gulf War did. It revealed war isn't some head-to-head clash anymore, armies on a battlefield.
They're saying the whole stage getting bigger and the lines got blurry.
So no more tanks rolling across borders,
Yeah.
no more big naval battles, is that what they're saying?
Not that simple.
Yeah.
They say the face of war, it's become indistinct, blurry. Think about how different the Gulf War was. Constant media, surgical strikes, minimizing casualties, but maximizing the psychological impact.
Right, so you're talking about information warfare, propaganda, all that?
Exactly. They saw how powerful that could be.
Makes sense. In today's world, everything's connected.
Yeah.
But what does this indistinct face even look like in reality?
Well, they use this example. Keep in mind, this is 1999 hackers. They saw them coming. How one person, a group, a state even, could just wreak havoc.
Right.
And here's the thing. Is it a prank? Is it spying? Is it an act of war? It's blurry.
Man, that's chilling when you think about it. It's not some Tom Clancy book anymore. It's real life. Cyberattacks, shutting down power grids, messing with elections, even sparking international incidents. That's their indistinct face of war. You never know who's hitting you or why, and that's terrifying.
And they're saying that's not a bug, that's a feature now. It's not just about digital either. They have a whole section on financial war that, frankly, made me rethink money altogether.
Dude, this part blew my mind when I first read it. Remember I was telling you, it was like they predicted the power of mobile capital, even name-dropped George Soros.
Like they were peering into the future.
Yeah, and it wasn't just about one guy. It was this idea that in a globalized economy, money itself is a weapon, just as devastating as any army.
It's a powerful image.
So break it down for us. What does financial war actually mean? What does that look like?
Well, they talk about, think about it, right? Coordinated attacks, but on currencies, making them crash.
Okay.
Or sudden capital flight, everyone pulling their money out of a country at once, destabilizing it.
Right. Creating a panic.
Exactly. Even using investments, but strategically to gain control of key industries, like, buying up ports or tech companies. But on a national level, this was right before the Asian financial crisis hit the fan globally. But it's like they sensed it coming.
That's wild, yeah.
They did, didn't they?
It's like they had this insider knowledge. And I remember this one line stuck with me. It's like, the world belongs to those who hold the most gold.
Yeah.
Not a direct quote, but that was the gist,
Oh, they were definitely saying the balance of power was changing.
Big time. And that ties into their big idea, right? Beyond limits.
Yep, that's the core of it.
Forget about maps and borders. They're saying those don't matter as much when a virus, a market crash, even a nasty rumor can cripple a country from the inside.
They're saying the battlefield is everywhere and nowhere now. It's unsettling for sure.
Absolutely. It's not about taking territory anymore. It's about systems. Controlling information, the flow of money, the stuff that keeps a modern nation running. This beyond limits thinking, that's next level strategy right there.
Pure strategy. And like any good strategist, they look back at history, right? That talk about Alexander the Great.
Right. And not just the whole conquering thing, but the strategy behind it.
Exactly. They talk about his alliances, how he used debt as a weapon, even turning a conquered nation's wealth against its former rulers. It's about the long game, using every tool you've got.
Okay, but then they get really high level with it. This whole side principle rule thing, I got to be honest, reading that, it was like they were writing their own military theory right there in the book.
Yeah, it gets pretty dense there, I'll grant you that.
So break it down for us. What's the deal with this side principle idea?
Basically, it's about leverage. They're saying don't always hit your enemy head on. Find that side element, the thing that seems small but can bring a giant down.
So like finding the weak point in a castle wall instead of a full siege.
Exactly. Or like, I don't know, a judo master using his opponent's weight against them. They even use this Chinese story, Tianji's horse race. This guy, Tianji, total underdog, but he uses strategy and a bit of cunning, ends up winning these races he shouldn't have. Outsmarting, not overpowering.
So you outmaneuver, you find the pressure points. It's like that saying, give me a lever long enough
Yeah.
and a fulcrum and I can move the world. They're saying the lever now might be a well-timed currency crash or a disinformation campaign online or even just a trade dispute that seems minor on the surface.
Makes you see the world differently, man.
For sure. And that's the point, isn't it? They want us to see the world through their unrestricted warfare lens. Every action, every event, it's all a potential weapon. And they spent a good chunk of the book analyzing the U.S. military using this exact lens.
And they don't hold back either, do they?
Nope.
It's obvious they see the U.S. military as, like, the top dog, the benchmark. But then they go in on what they think our weaknesses are. Like, they really harp on our reliance on high-tech weapon systems. Which is interesting, right? Because they praise our logistics, our ability to project force globally. But then they turn around and say, this tech reliance, this need to have the biggest, baddest weapons, it makes us predictable, vulnerable even.
It's like they're saying, we've studied you, we know your moves.
We're playing chess while you're still on checkers, basically.
Chills, dude.
Yeah.
Literal chills.
Yeah.
So how do you encounter that? I mean, if they see everything as a weapon, where do you even start?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And their argument is, in this unrestricted warfare world, victory itself, it means something different now.
So what does winning even look like in this context? If there's no clear winner anymore, if everything is up for grabs in this unrestricted warfare world, what's the point? What are we even fighting for then?
That's the thing, right? It's like they're redefining the whole game. They never come right out and say, this is how you win. It's more about like constantly staying ahead of the curve, always adapting, evolving your tactics.
So less about winning one war and more about, I don't know, staying in the game, making sure you come out on top in the long run.
Exactly. They're saying survival, being able to protect your interests, even shape the world the way you want it to be. That's the victory now.
It's a lot more, I don't know, it's not as simple as it used to be, that's for sure.
Definitely not. And it makes you wonder how much of this, especially the parts about the U.S. military, how much of that is them playing the game already?
Oh, you think so? Like
Right.
it's all part of their strategy.
Think about it. They highlight what they call our weaknesses, right? Maybe that's to influence what we do next, make us doubt ourselves, even create a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Whoa, that's next level stuff.
Remember, unrestricted warfare, it's as much about psychology, about perception, as it is about actual weapons.
It's like they're saying we're already playing by different rules and you might not even realize the game's begun.
And that's their big takeaway, I think, this wake-up call. The old ways of thinking about conflict, about war, they don't cut it anymore in a world where the lines are blurred, where weapons are information, finance, as much as bombs and bullets.
So what do we do with that? We finished this book, we have all this info. What's the next step?
Knowing your enemy, knowing their playbook, that's always been an advantage. By understanding how they think, these, well, unorthodox strategies, it helps us navigate this whole crazy world, right?
Yeah, okay, makes sense.
The battle lines are blurry and the enemy doesn't always wear a uniform. That's what they want us to realize.
Honestly, it's a lot. This book, it really makes you rethink everything. It's like they pulled back the curtain on this whole new world of conflict. No more rule book. Constant change is the only rule.
And in that kind of world, being able to think critically, question everything, adapt on the fly, that's your biggest asset.
Unrestricted Warfare, definitely a book that sticks with you, makes you see things differently. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Remember, sometimes the most important battles aren't fought on the battlefield, they're fought in our minds.